CFN3. Hey there guys, CrossFlux here, and welcome back to Let's Play Oxenfree. In the last episode, we learned that we do have a method of getting off the island. The boat works just fine, but Clarissa's gone again, and we only have until dawn to do so, because otherwise the ghosts are going to eat our souls, basically, and then use our bodies as shells to walk around in the real world. So yeah, that's not too fun. But despite being on a timer, we still have totally enough time to trek over the entire island looking for letters that some old lady left for us. Because video game logic, I suppose? Yeah, let's go with video game logic. Because in-universe logic says that doesn't make sense that it should happen that way. But at least this way we'll learn a little bit more about the island and supposedly the quote-unquote truths of what's actually happening here on the island. So maybe we'll learn more about these ghosts and maybe how they died and maybe even a little bit more about how we can stop them. That's what I'm going with, at least. So another thing I want to talk about is those anomalies. So besides the letters, we're also going to be collecting the anomalies, which are, again, locations all over the island that you have to tune your radio into, and you just pick up weird random signals. So for these, it's actually really neat. Just kind of how it really makes you think of, like in the real world, geocaching, where basically there are hidden secrets in the real world and you're supposed to decode signals or puzzles or something like that and figure out the next location. You go there, you get another clue, and ultimately it leads to something. So the goal is to find something, and there's just a bunch of breadcrumbs and you have to piece together how to get there, which is a really cool, like, super evolved scavenger hunt type thing. I like that theme being here in Oxenfree, because it's a really neat kind of thematic take on the whole video game trope of needing to look for clues or look for items that you collect during gameplay. So I really like that Night School decided to use geocaching as a theme to kind of fit with the whole collecting things in this game. But they didn't just use it as a theme. No, they took it a step further. So apparently Oxenfree is like connected to the real world other than the fact that it's a video game. And what I mean by that is there are clues in this game that back when the game first came out had corresponded to a real life geocaching kind of phenomenon that Night School Studios had set up. There's like this phone line that they had and Twitter messages and all sorts of stuff like that, and there were hidden codes and signals all throughout the game and through various recordings, and man, oh man, you had to be really on your toes to figure this stuff out. So I applaud the people who figured that out back then when this game was new, and man, I find that so interesting. I'll leave maybe a link in the description talking about, what all this kind of puzzle entailed, because it's super fascinating to me.
Oh, Maggie says she hopes the notes are found by the correct person. Well, I guess that'll have to be us.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, so I came out here to get this letter. Also, there's supposedly another weird anomaly here. And this is it. It's this Morse code. Which, again, I need to bother to learn Morse code. But I believe, according to the wiki, if I'm not mistaken, that Morse code translates to, let us spray this piece. And apparently we can't get to the cliffs that way. Lovely. So I'm going to have to walk all the way around. I didn't want to do that, but whatever. And we're also not quite able to go into the cave.
Guess we're not going in there again.
It's like Nona said, it's caved
in the opening.
So, no easy shortcut for us. We do indeed have to go to the woods and unlock the bomb shelter, which supposedly connects up to the cave as well. But, yeah. So, since this part of the game is going to be a bit of backtracking, I'm actually going to kind of skip around, if you guys don't mind. I'm going to cut out the footage just because, again, until we're actually going through the story beats, basically going back to the woods, Jonas here is going to be silent. There's not going to be anything for them to talk about or say. So it's literally going to be boring, me just walking across the island, mostly to places we've already seen, and doing stuff that we couldn't do before. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to skip around to the locations of the various letters and anomalies, and I'll show those off when I get there. Alternatively, I mean, I guess it kind of depends on the idea I have during when I'm editing this video. I might do some more post-commentary going into more detail about that whole real-life geocaching thing that Oxenfree was tied to. Just because I find it really interesting, and it's something I don't really see a lot of people talk about, at least when they're talking about the game Oxenfree. I kind of see why. It's not really the game itself, but it's a part of it, and it definitely fits with the theme that they were going for here. So, that might actually be what I do. So, depending on that, either you're going to hear more of my voice on my way to get these notes, or I'll just cut it out. So, it'll be a mystery, just like so many other things about this game. Oh, well, okay, not quite. So, as we were leaving Maggie Adler's estate, it appears that Alex has this strange vision.
Alex, okay, are you back to normal?
Well,
I just
define
saw,
normal.
It was like a premonition, I think, and I know that sounds whatever, but this must be what it's like when people say they do that, because I kind of just saw Ren drowning.
Okay, just take it easy for a second. You went all red-eyed, like when we get possessed.
I did?
You stopped walking and started mumbling, and then your eyes lit up like little road flares. It only lasted like a minute, but we should hurry up and do this before the door on you opens any wider to them.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But the thing with Ren, it was so real. It was like I was there with him. Maybe we should go back.
But I'm sure he's fine, so let's finish what we started.
Yeah, let's finish our scavenger quest first, because, you know, that makes sense. Just like Jonas said, I'm sure he's fine. We've been able to trust Jonas really well so far. Despite being this bad boy kind of character, Jonas has been actually very loyal and trustworthy and quite dependable. Like, out of the whole party, I'm glad Jonas is the one that's been coming around with us. Alright, so, just to the left of that previous screen, the one with Maggie Adler's estate gate, once you come here to the Discovery Cliff side, we will find that there is another wall radio lock. So all we need to do is unlock this door, and hopefully there's going to be a nice little secret in here for us.
At the top of the hill, in the Charlie, Oscar, Lima, Oscar, Romeo, Echo, Delta, field.
So I actually accidentally stumbled across something else. If you recall, when we first picked up the letters, let me actually go to the map real quick. You can even see over on the left-hand side of the map, it says Adler number station 140.1. So yeah, I accidentally tuned into that station. So Adler will actually leave signals for us that we can use to decode where to find the next clue. They seem to be in a random order, if I'm not mistaken. So instead of finding the anomalies and the letters and whatnot in kind of this breadcrumb pattern, thankfully the game designers created it so that you can get any of these things in any order technically. So if you know where they are ahead of time, you can just collect them. But at least they put in some in-game way for you to figure out where some of these things are located. So that's not quite what I'm looking for here for this radio. So I guess it must be on a lower station.
This data command annex,
okay, well, I accidentally
was used during the base's early years as the communication nerve center for outside military installations. It was also the primary office of Marianne Bozek, a civilian who developed communications protection through the invention of the famed WAL system. A type of radio frequency identification, WAL, standing for Wave-Assisted Lock, assigned each person who was stationed at Fort Milner a call sign through which they could use their portable two-wave radios to unlock prescribed doors and gates. Though the mechanics are considered outmoded today, the island still uses this security method to honor its rich history. This data
So this station apparently is where some lady invented this wall technology, if I was listening to that little broadcast correctly. Okay, finally found the signal. At least you can just leave it, and it's just kind of a time thing, and it's not like when you have to free your friends from possession, and you have to keep finding different stations. Oh, okay, I see. I couldn't remember if there was a letter in here or not. Apparently, it's just another one of these little cannon things. So now we just gotta tune into the anomaly. I believe most of them are around the high 90s to low hundreds. That's a pretty creepy song. It sounds heavily modified and distorted. I believe, again, because I've done some research on the game, if I remember correctly, I think the game slowed it down. So if you actually speed it up, it says something.
That
And,
woman, Marianne.
oh boy, another letter. Yay, we are on a roll, you guys. Now, heading off to the left again takes us to Main Street. I don't think we have anything else to do there. No other anomalies or anything. So, I think we're good to go to head to probably Fort Milner first. That way we can hit the woods last. So, I'm going to be heading off to Fort Milner. And I apologize if I've been a little scatterbrained in this section. I know I'm trying to do my best to systematically go through and find all these secrets, but it's kind of being ad-libbed as I'm going. I don't really have it super planned out. Like I said, like back at the start of the Let's Play, I kind of just decided to boot this up since it's close to Halloween, and it was a spooky game, so I just kind of wanted to go through and spook myself a bit. But maybe I took it a little too far, because like I said, this game has been a little weird. Certainly a bit weirder than I remember it being in my previous playthrough a couple of years ago. And certainly weirder than when I Let's Played it on my channel like 2 years ago. That's like the second time I've said that, right? Like, didn't I say before I Let's Played it on this channel? Because that's not true, right? I have not Let's Played this game before. Not for you guys, you know? Oh well. Well, on my way here to the statue, we can at least listen to the radio here. Where is it? Somewhere around here.
This is the Sentry, sculpted by Lieutenant Peter Hasborough. It was installed here in 1979 to remind all who view it of Fort Milner's original intent, to serve as a beacon of harbor defense. Though the base would eventually become acclaimed as the birthplace of many radio innovations during World War II, and until its deactivation would be known more for its schooling and the tragic sinking of the USS Kanaloa, the fort's spirit will always be that of the watchful sentry, steady, protective, and ever vigilant of enemies both foreign and domestic. This is the Sentry.
Interesting. You can almost see the mainland. It'd be neat if there was like an actual little telescope machine there that had been put up, kind of like, you know, as a tourist attraction or whatever, and maybe we could actually view the mainland. I think that would have been neat to see the town of Kamina, where everyone here is from. But the way the game is still perfectly fine. Hello everyone, ChatFlux here, and welcome back to Let's Play Oxenfree. In the last episode, we learned a bit more of the story, and in today's episode, we're going to find all the secrets, because we have to get that true ending. Now, before we go any further, there is going to be an anomaly. Whoa. Ugh, whew, that was a weird transition. I thought the game was going to crash there for a second, but it looks like it managed to hold together. So, let's celebrate by discovering another anomaly.
A low-frequency radio wave is incident upon a body of radio waves travel forever until it is absorbed by matter or a person.
Radio waves travel forever until they are absorbed by a person. So, pretty interesting idea. If the ghosts are kind of, you know, like locked up or whatever, and are kind of trapped in the form of radio waves, maybe that's why their plan is to be absorbed by us, and that's how they'll escape. Because they've quote-unquote been traveling forever. They've seen, apparently, other universes and whatnot. So, I always found that anomaly pretty interesting. I think that kind of explains a little bit about the ghosts. But of course, it's just a theory. Oh my, please excuse that interruption in the footage. I'm not sure what's going on with the game. I've been having trouble getting it to run correctly. But it seems to have been stabilized now. So, let me, ChatFlux, continue on with this Let's Play.
Maggie
We
brought
have found
your friend
more of the
Anna here to
letters.
help, I guess.
Now, something I always found annoying when collecting these letters is that Alex always starts kind of commenting about them just as soon as she picks them up. I think it would have been a neat touch to allow the player to read it in silence before getting Alex's thoughts on the subject. So perhaps when you close the letter, as I just did, perhaps then Alex should have commented on what the letter was about. But luckily for us, not only do we have a letter here, we also have another anomaly. Let me see if I can't find the signal. I believe it is a bit lower on the spectrum. There it goes. Can anybody hear me? CrossFlux? Anyone? That seems very strange. If I remember correctly, that anomaly was supposed to talk about some sort of clip from an old TV show. But instead it sounded like that other character I sometimes use for humor on this show, that CrossFlux fellow. Woo. Okay, the game keeps glitching. I don't know what it is. I just changed screens and I appeared here on the right side of the facilities. I don't quite know what's going on exactly, but I mean, I do need to be here, so I guess it works out. And I apologize if I'm not really giving you guys enough time to read these letters as I'm picking them up. Excuse me. I suppose you could always pause the video and read them right then if you want, but as I said when I first picked up the letters, I'll read them all in order for you once I collect them all. I figure it makes the most sense that way anyways. So if you kind of remember back when I did my Let's Play of Teslagrad, that's sort of how I handled it then, with the optional scrolls. And excuse me, person with the loud bike outside my window, you're making it very difficult to record right now. But yeah, so if you've seen my Let's Play of Teslagrad, then you kind of know what I'm going to do with the letters. I'm going to wait for them to all be obtained before revealing the secrets inside. Right, one more wall radio lock, and we find yet another anomaly. Seems kind of weird that this signal would be, you know, blocking some weird door. Like, who set these wall locks up? Okay, there it goes.
Something keeps touching my leg in the water, and I don't know what it is.
we just go into the cave now? No, sure. I just want you to have a good time. Wait, I think there's something down there. Wait, Jason, don't trip, there's a... Jason?
That sounded pretty interesting. It sounded kind of like something you'd see from, another horror movie. Ooh, the guy and the girl are out by themselves, and they're trying to explore something spooky, and then something happens. But, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I felt like the girl sounded a bit like Alex. And so it makes me think of Alex and Jonas. They even mentioned going into the caves. So, what if that was like an alternate reality, kind of Alex-Jonas parallel situation going on? I don't know. That's one of the fun things about this game. You've got so many different ways to take all the different things. Alright, well, one more letter here. Now, I believe I hit all 3 anomalies, and I believe I collected the 3 letters in this location. I'm pretty sure that's all that is here. So, time to leave Fort Milner and head over to the woods, where the vast majority of the collectibles are. I mean, there's a lot here in Fort Milner, as you saw, but... Wait, did I actually show everything in Fort Milner? I think so, but... I mean, now that I'm trying to actually recollect it, it's a little foggy. Maybe I need to stop recording real quick and take a look and make sure I did that. So, we'll pick up in the next episode. Thanks so much for watching, guys. As always, have a blessed day, and I'll get this thing sorted out eventually. So, don't worry about me.